Echoes of midnight. In the ephemeral twilight of Forks, Washington, where the sun's last rays cast elongated shadows, a young girl named Renesmee Cullen stood at her bedroom window, gazing out at the dense forest that surrounded her home. She was not your ordinary girl. She possessed an extraordinary gift, the ability to experience moments from other people's lives through their physical contact. This rare talent, imbued within her by the fusion of vampire and human DNA, made her unique even among the immortal beings who populated her world. Renesmee was a blend of her parents' strengths, her mother Bella's warmth, determination, and human vulnerability, and her father Edward's centuries-old wisdom, unyielding love, and supernatural gifts. Her large, liquid eyes held the golden shimmer of her vampire heritage, while her rosy complexion and delicate scent betrayed her humanity. She was a miracle, a child born to a once mortal woman and an immortal vampire, defying every rule that governed their kinds. One evening, as Renesmee waited for her parents to return from their patrol duty, she felt an unexpected chill brush past her, like a whisper of wind through her room. Her eyes widened in realization. Someone had entered the house uninvited. She reached out with her senses, searching for intruders, and detected a faint, pulsating heartbeat echoing from downstairs. Summoning her courage, Renesmee descended the creaking staircase, her small feet barely making a sound on the polished wood. As she approached the living room, she saw a young woman collapsed on the couch, clutching her side in pain. The stranger was dressed in tattered clothes, and her once golden hair was now matted and dull. Renesmee hesitated for a moment before cautiously approaching her. "Who are you?" Renesmee asked softly, her voice barely above a whisper. "Why have you come to our home?" The woman opened her eyes slowly, revealing irises that shimmered with an otherworldly glow. She was a vampire, but unlike any vampire Renesmee had encountered before, this one seemed drained of strength and vitality. I'm sorry," the woman stammered weakly. "I didn't mean to intrude. I just needed help. My name is Jane." Renesmee's brow furrowed in concentration as she reached out to touch Jane's arm. A sudden vision flooded her mind. Jane, fleeing from an unseen foe. Jane, starving and alone in the wilderness. Jane, desperate for the comfort of her own kind. And amidst it all, a single thought repeated like a mantra. Find Renesmee. Why were you looking for me? Renesmee asked, withdrawing her hand as the vision faded. Jane's eyes filled with tears. "I don't know. It's just something inside me told me to find you. I can feel it, like an echo of someone else's voice in my head." Renesmee considered this for a moment before making up her mind. She helped Jane sit up straight on the couch and offered her a comforting smile. "You must be hungry. Would you like some blood?" Jane looked at Renesmee with gratitude and nodded. Renesmee returned to her room, retrieving a bag of animal blood from her father's private stash. When she returned to the living room, Jane drank eagerly, her strength visibly returning with each greedy gulp. As Jane fed, Renesmee couldn't help but feel drawn to this mysterious vampire who had sought her out so desperately. There was something about Jane that tugged at her heartstrings. Perhaps it was their shared experience of being outcasts among their own kind, or maybe there was some deeper connection yet to be discovered. When Jane finished feeding, she looked up at Renesmee with newfound resolve in her eyes. "Thank you, little one," she said. "You've given me strength when I needed it most." Renesmee smiled back at her. "What happens now?" she asked. "Will you stay here with us?" Jane hesitated before answering. "I don't know if that's such a good idea. Your parents might not approve of an uninvited guest like me, and besides, there are things out there looking for me." Before Renesmee could press further, the front door creaked open and Bella entered, followed closely by Edward. They took in the sight of Jane on their couch with calm expressions. After centuries together, little could surprise them any more. "Hello." Bella greeted Jane warmly, approaching her without fear or caution. "I'm Bella Cullen, this is my daughter Renesmee, and our mate is Edward." Jane regarded them warily but did not rise to defend herself against a potential threat. Instead, she seemed almost hopeful. Edward crossed the room, taking his place beside Bella. His golden eyes never left Jane's face as he asked quietly, "Who are you? What do you want with our daughter?" Jane took a deep breath before speaking. "My name is Jane. I don't know what I am looking for in Renesmee exactly, but something inside me tells me to protect her." Edward's expression did not change, but Bella looked thoughtful at this news. "It seems we are connected somehow," Bella mused aloud. "Renesmee touched you, and now she understands your plight better than anyone else could." Jane nodded eagerly. "Yes, that must be it. Somehow I'm linked to Renesmee too." The room fell silent for a moment before Edward finally spoke up again. "You may stay here as our guest, Jane," he offered solemnly. "But know this, any harm coming to Renesmee or Bella, and you will answer to me." Jane bowed her head in agreement, grateful for the hospitality she was being shown by these powerful immortals. Over the following days, Renesmee spent most of her time with Jane, learning about her past experiences and hearing tales from before Jane became a vampire. They found solace in one another's company, bonding over shared loneliness and isolation among their own kinds. One evening, while practicing their mental connection, Renesmee experienced something entirely new. Jane showed her images of a place far away from Forks, an ancient forest filled with whispered secrets and untold legends. Within that forest stood an enormous tree whose roots delved deep into the earth itself, drawing forth power unlike anything imaginable. Intrigued by this vision, Renesmee shared it with Bella upon their return home later that night. Her mother listened attentively as she recounted every detail from her mental connection with Jane. "And you believe this place exists?" Bella asked once Renesmee finished recounting the vision. "And that somehow it holds answers to Jane's plight?" Renesmee nodded earnestly. "Yes, I just know it does. We need to help Jane find peace again." Bella exchanged glances with Edward, who stood silently nearby before replying softly, "Then we shall go there together, all 5 of us." The journey took them far beyond the borders of Forks, deep into the heart of a vast forest where time seemed almost suspended. The trees grew denser and taller here. Their roots snaked out across the forest floor like veins beneath skin. Finally, after days spent hiking through dense foliage, they came upon the great tree from Renesmee's vision. Its massive trunk stretched high towards heavens while deep below ground, its root system wound around some hidden force waiting to be tapped. As they approached, Jane began trembling uncontrollably beside Renesmee, who held onto her tightly for support. The other Cullens moved closer too, forming a protective circle around the 2 women. Suddenly, Jane's eyes glazed over as she was overwhelmed by memories long forgotten. Scenes played out before their very eyes like some supernatural movie reel. A young woman running through snow barefoot, laughter echoing behind her. An ancient vampire holding court amidst other immortals. Blood being spilled freely upon stone floors. As abruptly as it had begun, the vision ended. Jane slumped forward, unconscious now. Carlyle caught her in his arms before she hit the ground. Is that what we think it was?" Bella asked, eyes wide with disbelief. Edward nodded grimly. "We have just witnessed history unfold right here." Over time, Jane regained consciousness, though much of what had transpired remained lost to her memories still. However, something within her seemed changed, peaceful now where once there had been such restlessness. Renesmee felt an immense wave of relief wash over herself as she watched Jane recover slowly yet surely under their care. It seemed like maybe, just maybe, this place had indeed held answers for them all along. With Jane now settled safely within their family fold, Renesmee continued on with her daily life again, playing games outdoors beneath warm sun rays, reading quietly inside during cooler hours, practicing her gifts mentally alongside Bella and Carlyle. Yet always nearby lurked Jane, another piece fitted neatly amongst these Cullens now too. One crisp autumn morning, several weeks after their return home from the ancient forest, Renesmee woke suddenly feeling unsettled somehow. Beside her lay Bella sleeping peacefully, while across room sat Jane awake already, staring off towards nothingness outside window panes. Sensing Renesmee's wakefulness, Jane turned to look at her and smiled gently. "You sense something wrong too?" she asked quietly, not wanting to disturb Bella further just yet. Renesmee nodded uncertainly. I don't know what it is exactly, but there feels like something bad might happen soon." Jane hesitated before replying softly, "Then we should prepare ourselves, just in case." Together they left the room silently, leaving Bella undisturbed behind them. In kitchen downstairs they fetched supplies. Bottled bloods from fridge, weapons tucked away discreetly around house for emergencies such as this one. Once equipped fully against unknown threat ahead, Renesmee and Jane returned upstairs together, once more only now alerted fully by whatever intuition warned them earlier still lingering there faintly amongst shadows, waiting beyond doors leading out onto darkness beyond. It happened just as they expected. Door burst open violently inward suddenly, revealing figure standing framed within doorway, pale skin glowing under moonlight streaming inside, eyes burning red like embers smouldering deep within their sockets. This creature was not merely vampire but ancient one, oldest perhaps any of them had ever encountered before today. Intruder snarled loudly, baring fangs menacingly at pair standing frozen in place midway across bedroom towards Bella's sleeping form. "I knew you would be here, half-breed." It hissed directly towards Renesmee, while ignoring Jane entirely beside her. Now comes time for reckoning finally. Renesmee stepped forward, defiantly facing down monstrous foe, despite fear coursing fiercely through veins. Beside her, Jane stood firm too, albeit visibly shaken by this menacing figure looming before them both. "Leave now," Renesmee commanded sternly, "or face our wrath together." Ancient vampire sneered contemptuously, but made no move to attack quite yet, instead lingering there watching scene unfold, interested, perhaps even amused at such audacity displayed openly here tonight. Just then door flew open again, revealing Bella standing fully awake now, herself wielding wooden stake, clenched tightly within hand, aimed directly towards intruder's heart. Beside her loomed Edward, tall and imposing, armed similarly, too prepared to defend family fiercely if need arose now. Seeing no way out without bloodshed surely forth, coming anyway, ancient vampire launched itself forward sudden and swift as striking serpent. First clash erupted fierce amongst them, then, fangs bared, claws outstretched, stakes plunging deep into undead flesh. Roars echoed off walls while screams pierced air sharply above fray. As battle raged on ruthlessly around, bedroom floorboards stained darkly crimson red. Renesmee felt sudden absence beside herself, once more glancing quickly sideways, to find Jane gone vanished amidst chaos, somehow unseen amongst melee now surrounding them closely packed together in tiny space. Where could she have gone? Was she safe still? Distracted briefly, thus thinking thoughts better focused elsewhere instead, Renesmee faltered, allowing fangs sink deeply into own neck momentarily, until rescued violently away by none other than Bella, who threw herself bodily intervening, thus taking damage meant originally for child's life precious. Reprieved, though injured grievously still, Renesmee shook off days, quickly regaining composure needed desperately here tonight. Fight ongoing around them relentlessly. Just then noticed something strange happening slowly amidst carnage. Ancient vampire, beginning age reverse itself before very eyes watching now. Youth regained, gradually replaced, once old saggy skin smooth, taught youth again, appearing seemingly rejuvenated mere moments past since beginning. Suddenly, all stopped abruptly, as if commanded silently unseen force. Every single participant present froze mid-action, turning to look intently towards solitary figure, standing framed silently doorway entrance still. Jane now transformed entirely unrecognizable into something far more sinister, terrifying, even than what they faced previously mere moments ago. She stepped forward, gradually revealing self fully bathed eerie luminescence spilling forth from behind her, casting macabre shadows dancing madly off walls, surrounding them, completely enveloping entire scene within sphere of dreadful foreboding, impossible escape somehow from her grasp entirely. "What have you done?" whispered Bella, brokenly staring aghast at this new manifestation, standing where once had stood kind gentlewoman, caring protectively those under her charge, now perverted horrifically beyond recognition almost. "I did what must be done," replied Jane, voice resonating deeply, echoing off walls around them like hollow drumbeat calling doomsday near. Sacrifice oneself entirely to rid world utterly of plague plaguing it, since dawn first broke over horizon. "No," gasped Carlyle, stepping nearer own beloved mate, hoping perhaps still somehow reach through whatever held sway over her now, maybe break free Jane's thrall, binding her so tightly away from them forevermore. Too late, though already too late. Ancient vampire collapsed suddenly, lifeless heap upon floorboards, collapsing beneath its own weight, dead, finally, after eons roaming earth wreaking havoc. Then silence fell heavy oppressive amongst room, while waiting anxious breaths collectively held still together, waiting happen next. But nothing did occur except silence persisted on eternally unbroken until eventually someone dared speak, breaking tension, hanging heavy like storm cloud ready burst apart any second now. "What now?" asked Edward, voice hoarse with exhaustion, despair too, after witnessing such tragedy unfold here tonight. Jane turned to face him fully, then answering plainly, "Now I must finish what began long ago." With that declaration made clear, finality rang true within everyone present, knowing precisely who meant target truly remained ultimately throughout all time past hitherto. "Not if we stop you first," retorted Renesmee, defiantly stepping closer, Jane menacing now, despite fear lurking deep own heart, pounding fiercely like war drumbeat beneath ribs. Beside her, others joined ranks, standing together, united, facing down whatever transformation occurred, leaving only monstrosity, replacing, once beloved, companion, friend, family member lost forever now. "Very well, then," conceded Jane, sadly, resignation tinging words spoken softly as echoing regret, maybe even remorse to perhaps hidden depths, soul still lingering somewhere deep within despite outward appearance otherwise. "If this is how it must end between us, so be it." She moved swiftly, striking out viciously without warning against those assembled opposing her now. First struck Bella, nearest followed swiftly by. Carlyle both sent crashing brutally, floorboards apart, before either could react, defend themselves adequately, caught off guard. Utterly unprepared, faced foe, seemed once more familiar, yet not same, somehow changed entirely. Then on to next, closest standing ready defend. Edward fought valiantly, bravely, trying hold line single. Handedly alone now, since others felt swiftly already unable rise fight further any longer. Yet despite all efforts valor exhibited, he too eventually succumbed, forces arrayed against him overpoweringly superior ultimately. Thrown violently aside alongside, others laid waste their lifeless scattered haphazardly strewn about room like discarded toys, shattered beyond recognition repair. Left standing finally amidst carnage wreckage strewn about freely, throughout once cosy bedroom transformed battle scene, now lay Renesmee herself, facing down, final obstacle standing between her and victory over darkness, consuming loved ones gradually. She took deep breath, steeling nerves ready confront what seemed insurmountable odds, yet held firm determination none. The less surged strongly, coursing fiercely through veins, emboldening spirit against fears. Otherwise, might overcome easily faced with such formidable foe looming before alone unaided. Jane approached cautiously, almost reverently, perhaps due respect still lingering memories past shared together alongside others now prone lifeless beneath their feet. "You were always destined to fall," she whispered sadly, pausing briefly mere inches away from where Renesmee stood defiantly, facing down doom, awaiting inevitably. "Not today," declared youthful vampire, vehemently clenching fists tightly at her sides, preparing pounce, whenever opportune moment struck attack back fiercely against this monstrous parody. Once cherished friend, beloved family member, transformed utterly beyond recognition, now unrecognizable even. "Very well, then," responded Jane, resignedly accepting fate, sealed long ago, predestined inevitably, since beginning world's earliest dawn-breaking horizon. Lunging forward swiftly, suddenly, she grasped Renesmee, fiercely pinning arms, tightly body pressed firmly against own, preventing struggle, escape. Whatsoever, until last rites, spoken finality, rang hollow ominously through air-chilling bones within hearts everyone present witnessing scene unfolding tragically before them. "I am sorry," whispered Jane, leaning close, bringing mouth mere fraction away from precious neck, pulsating wildly lifeblood, coursing freely beneath delicate skin, invitingly, enticingly, seductively. Yet just as fangs poised to strike merciless death blow, something intervened, abruptly intervening, thereby averting tragedy imminent. Sunlight streamed forth, suddenly unexpected, illuminating chamber, brightly, momentarily blinding all within its path, including Jane herself caught off guard, momentarily releasing grip, unexpectedly allowing Renesmee wriggle-free grasp escape miraculously. Stumbling back, hastily shielded eyes against glare burning fiercely, intensely beyond belief, Jane cried out desperately, "No, not again," before collapsing utterly lifeless heap upon floorboards, crumpling away like ashen dust, caught fierce wind scattering remnants, carried off unseen nevermore. Standing there amidst ruined remains, once beloved companions, friends, family members, transformed tragically, monstrously now, reduced, mere embers smouldering, briefly dying out altogether. Renesmee stood trembling, still alive, somehow against all odds miraculously survived, facing down fate, decreed otherwise predestined seemingly inevitably, from beginning time itself began anew again, somehow magically. Mercifully defying expectations, held collectively throughout entire ordeal, until its conclusion, now lying prone shattered before her, utterly defeated. Yet amidst ruin lay hope, reborn phoenix, rising from ashes, promising brighter dawns ahead, despite darkness, prevailed previously overshadowing world, entirely extinguishing light, once cherished, remembered dearly. Mourned deeply still, "Mamma," she called out softly, searching desperately through wreckage scattered haphazardly about room, seeking someone familiar, beloved, amidst chaos surrounding hopefully, not lost forever to some, how miraculously survive horrors witnessed here tonight. And so began long arduous journey, healing, restoring shattered fragments, once glorious lives taken brutally, prematurely, before their times ever truly should have ended. But now perhaps together they could rise phoenix reborn, stronger, wiser together, united facing forward uncertain paths, yet be trodden ahead, still journeying on through darkest nights toward brighter mornings awaited beyond horizon. S. Edge, thus endeth the tale for now.